Alright, so in this problem, I have 0.2 to the power of x is equal to 2. So for this problem, I want to find the value of x. So for my solution, first start with 0.2 to the power of x is equal to 2. Now I'm going to take the log on both sides. So I have log 0.2 to the power of x is equal to log 2. And if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, I can actually move this exponent b here to the front. So this can equal b times log a. So in this case, I have log 0.2 to the power of x, and I can move x to the front. So now I have x times log 0.2 is equal to log 2. Now if I divide both sides by log 0.2, these two cancel out, and I get x is equal to log 2 over log 0.2. Now, if you notice here, log 0.2, well, that's the same thing as log of 2 over 10. And if I have something in the form log a over b, this is simply equal to log a minus log b. So in this case, a is 2 and b is 10. So I can rewrite this as x is equal to log 2 over log 2 minus log 10. Now, log 10, as we all know, is simply 1. So I have x is equal to log 2 over log 2 minus 1. Now, log 2, this is equal to 0.3010. So I have 0.3010 over 0.3010 minus 1. And now this is equal to 0.3010 over 0.6990. And finally, if I divide these two, I get that x is equal to, this is actually negative 0.6990. X is equal to negative 0.43. Alright, so in this problem, I have 2 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x plus 8 to the power of x is equal to 39. So to solve this, I'm going to first rewrite this as 2 to the power of x plus 2 squared to the power of x plus 2 to the power of 3 to the power of x is equal to 39. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is the same thing as a to the power of n to the power of m. So 2 to the power of 2 to the power of x, I can rewrite as 2 to the power of x to the power of 2, and 2 to the power of 3 to the power of x, I can rewrite as 2 to the power of x to the power of 3. Now, I'm going to let 2 to the power of x equal to the variable y. So now I have y plus y squared plus y to the power of 3 is equal to 39. Now I'm going to subtract 39 on both sides. So these two cancel out, and now I have y to the power of 3 plus y to the power of 2 plus y minus 39 is equal to 0. Now I'm going to rewrite y squared here as negative 3y squared plus 4y squared. So I have this plus y minus 39 is equal to 0. Now from y to the power of 3 minus 3y squared, I can factor out y squared. So I have y squared times y minus 3. So now I'm going to add 4y squared, and I'm going to rewrite y here as negative 12y plus 13y. So now from here I have y squared times y minus 3 plus from 4y squared minus 12y, I can factor out 4y. So I have 4y times y minus 3 plus 13 times y minus 3. This is equal to 0. So now if I factor out y minus 3, I get y minus 3 times y squared plus 4y plus 13 is equal to 0. So now this gives me, So now this gives me two equations. I have y minus 3 is equal to 0, meaning y is equal to 3. And I have y squared plus 4y plus 13 equals 0. So to solve this, I'm going to use the quadratic formula, which is negative b, so negative 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared. So 4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1 times c, which is 13. And if you notice, this is actually going to be 16 minus 52, which is negative 36. And you can't take the square root of a negative number, so this is wrong. And my only solution for y is 3. Now remember how we let 2 to the power of x equal y, meaning 2 to the power of x equals 3. So now to solve this, I'm going to take the log on both sides. And this is the same thing as x times log 2 is equal to log 3, meaning x is equal to log 3 over log 2. Alright, so in this problem, I have 10 to the power of 9 minus x squared is equal to 1. So I obviously want to find the value of x for this problem. So for my solution, I first start with 10 to the power of 9 minus x squared is equal to 1. And now, if I have something in the form x to the power of 0, right? Well, any number to the power of 0 is simply 1. So we know we see 1 here, and 1 is the same thing as a number to the power of 0. So I'm going to rewrite 1 as 10 to the power of 0. So now I have 10 to the power of 9 minus x squared is equal to 10 to the power of 0, because 10 to the power of 0 is the same thing as 1. And the reason I did this is so that these two bases here are the same. Now as you see, they're both 10. So now I have 10 to the power of 9 minus x squared is equal to 10 to the power of 0. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, this means that m is equal to n. Meaning over here, because both of our bases are the same, they both are 10, our exponents are going to be equal to each other as well, meaning 9 minus x squared, that's going to be equal to 0. So I have 9 minus x squared is equal to 0. Now, as you see, we have a simple equation to solve. So to solve this equation, I'm going to add x squared on both sides. So then these two cancel out, and then I have x squared is equal to 9. Now, I'm going to take the square root on both sides, so I have the square root of x squared is equal to the square root of 9. And the square root of x squared, that's x. The square root of 9, this can be positive or negative 3. So my two solutions for x are x equals 3 and x equals negative 3. So now I actually have another solution. So again, I have 10 to the power of 9 minus x squared is equal to 1. And this time I'm actually going to take the log on both sides. So I have log of 10 to the power of 9 minus x squared is equal to log 1. So now log of 1, that's 0. So I have log 10 to the power of 9 minus x squared is equal to 0. And if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, this is the same thing as b times log a. So in this case, I have 9 minus x squared times log 10 is equal to 0. Now log 10, this is simply 0. Or sorry, this is simply 1. So now I have 9 minus x squared times 1, which is simply 9 minus x squared is equal to 0. And again, I'm back to where I started. 9 minus x squared equals 0, so x is equal to 3 or negative 3. So that is my second solution. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to solve the equation 2 to the power of x is equal to x to the power of 32. So to solve this, I'm going to first start by taking the power of 1 over x on both sides. So I get 2 to the power of x to the power of 1 over x is equal to x to the power of 32 to the power of 1 over x. And the reason I did this is because if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So x and 1 over x, these two cancel out. So on my left-hand side, I just have 2. And for my right-hand side, 32 and 1 over x multiply to get 32 over x. Now, from here, I'm going to take the power of 1 over 32 on both sides. And if you guessed, we're doing this to get rid of this 32 on my right-hand side. So for my left-hand side, I just have 2 to the power of 1 over 32. Now for my right-hand side, these two are going to cancel out. So I get x to the power of 1 over x. That's all that's there remaining. And now, we want to simplify this because our end goal is to make this in the form a to the power of 1 over a is equal to b to the power of 1 over b. So in that case, if that's in the form, that means a is equal to b. So we already have x to the power of 1 over x over here. So we just need to make the left-hand side be in the form a to the power of 1 over a, meaning this number here has to equal this number. So we need to find a way to make that. Well, what we can do is rewrite 1 over 32 as 2 over 64. And now, remember, this is the same thing as if I have something in the form a to the power of n to the power of m, this is equal to a to the power of m times m. So I can reverse this and rewrite this as 2 to the power of 2 to the power of 1 over 64. And 2 to the power of 2 is 4, so I get 4 to the power of 1 over 64 is equal to x to the power of 1 over x. Now, this still isn't, these two numbers still aren't the same. So what we're going to do is repeat the process once again. 1 over 64 is the same thing as 2 over 128. And I can rewrite this as 4 squared to the power of 1 over 128. Now 4 squared is 16, so I get 16 to the power of 1 over 128 is equal to x to the power of 1 over x. And they still aren't the same, so I'm going to repeat it once again. So I get 16 to the power of 2 over 256 is equal to x to the power of 1 over x. Now this is the same thing as 16 squared to the power of 1 over 256 is equal to x to the power of 1 over x. And now 16 squared is equal to 256. So I get 256 to the power of 1 over 256 is equal to x to the power of 1 over x. And now notice that these numbers are the same. And this is in the form, as I said, a to the power of 1 over a is equal to b to the power of 1 over b, meaning a is equal to b, so x is equal to 256. So this is my solution to this equation. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and share this to any of your friends or family.